This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 117-inch.
On this week's episode, we interview Weird Al's dentist. We are not kidding. We actually interviewed Weird Al's actual former dentist, Dr. Roger Schuster.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Welcome to episode 117-inch, and happy birthday, Dave!
Well, thank you very much, Ethan. You remembered.
Well, yes, of course, your birthday last Saturday. Now, what did you turn? 117?
Whoa, not quite yet. What do I look like, David of David and Henry fame?
Well, not yet. Oh, hey, did you have a B birthday cake?
BB birthday cake? Are you stuttering, Ethan?
No, just curious if you had a burrito-themed birthday cake. This week's episode is brought to you in part by Vegan Burrito Restaurant, Burrito in Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla burrito, and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito your Burrito, or hop on over to Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say, beefy vegan burgers. From Troy to Albany to Uranus, Burrito and Wizard Burger. Feed the hungry with out-of-this-world, plant-based, real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquare.com or wizardburger.com and order ahead.
Well, actually, my cake was made out of ice cream, and it was Sludgy the Whale.
Sludgy the Whale? Don't you mean Fudgy the Whale?
No, I definitely mean Sludgy the Whale.
All right, I'm not even going to ask Dave, but what I am going to do is kick off this week in Weird Al related news. This just in! It was Weird Al superfan Dave Elvis Rossi's birthday on Saturday, July 24th! And now, here he is in a Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast exclusive interview.
Wait, what?
You heard it here, folks! Wait, what? Those words will go down in infamy and in Weird Al fandom history.
Oh, so slow news week?
Righto, Dave! So, get any good birthday gifts?
Actually, I did. Our intern Frank, he gave me a great birthday week gift. At my request, he finally posted episode 3 centimeter of our Black and White and Weird All Over bonus episode series over on our Patreon.
Oh, cool! Now that's the special series where we sit down with author John Bermuda Schwartz and go page by page through his book Black and White and Weird All Over, The Lost Photographs of Weird Al Yankovic, 1983 to 1986.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now episode 1 centimeter through episode 3 centimeter have been posted over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/2000inch.
And bonus episode 3 centimeter is the first half of chapter 2. That's the one that covers the I Love Rocky Road music video shoot.
I am so happy that I get to share my birthday gift from Frank with all of our pretty stinking majestic Patreon supporters.
If you're not a Patreon supporter yet and you want to check out those episodes right now before they go out to the general public at some point in the future, be sure to sign up at patreon.com/2000inch.
Oh boy, how exciting. It sounds like there are a few messages on our official 347 Spatula hotline.
Well, boy howdy! All right, Frank, let 'em rip!
Oh my goodness, there's the beep. That means I have to leave a birthday message for Dave. And who could this be? Why, it's the bestest friend of all, Polyester from Toronto, Canada. Obviously, I had to call and say happy birthday to you, Dave. I miss you so freaking much. And I can't wait until we can get together again and just laugh our faces off and have the best time. So, until that day, I just wish you the best and just go eat some pie. I don't know, have fun. What am I, your mother? All right, late.
Hey, this is your pal Dana B calling to wish Dave a very happy birthday. It's hard to believe it's been 19 years. if you count the 1 year we talked via email, that we have known each other. And Ethan also wanted to wish you a happy 2-year anniversary of our becoming Al Pals. Didn't want to leave you out there. But more importantly, Dave, for your birthday, here's to many more years of eternal youth, and more importantly, many more podcast episodes. Stay weird. Bye-bye.
Hey, Dave. It's Jake Larson. Just want to call. Wish you a happy birthday. I looked all over online. Couldn't seem to find a song appropriate for celebrating the day someone's born. But I'll keep looking if I want to let you guys know. Hi, Ethan. Bye, guys.
Hi, I'd like to order a large cheese pizza with pineapple, sauerkraut, bacon. You know what? Only put bacon on the left side. And make sure to wish Dave a happy birthday.
Oh, how nice. Thank you so much, Polly and Dana, Jake and Jackson. I miss you all so very much and value our friendship very much. And Jackson, can I have a piece of that pizza, please?
Jeez, was it your birthday on Saturday or something, Dave?
It absolutely was. Didn't you pay attention to this week in Weird Al related news?
Another message?
Hi, Dave and Ethan. Frank from the bank here. I heard you guys talking about Frank the Skipper on the new Jungle Cruise movie. Did you know that there was a local LA TV show in the early 60s hosted by Skipper Frank? I'm sure that Al watched it way back then. A lot of us kids did. The host was a ventriloquist. His name was Skipper Frank Herman, and he had a wooden sidekick named Julius. They did magic shows, and they urged kids to eat Kellogg's cornflakes. Not to be confused with Skipper Dan. Just saying. Oh, and by the way, happy birthday, Dave. Enjoy your broccoli and beer.
Aw, thank you for the kind birthday wishes. And thank you for adding more proof to our Jungle Cruise movie conspiracy theory. It certainly is no coincidence that there was a ventriloquist kids show host named Skipper Frank that quite possibly influenced a young Alfred Yankovic.
Aha! And Kellogg's cornflakes. That's a new wrinkle to the conspiracy that we, and by we I mean our intern Frank, but Dave and I are taking credit for, the conspiracy that we are hard at work uncovering and getting to the bottom of. Oh no, Dave. If this is another message about your birthday, I don't know what I'll do.
Hey there, Dave and Ethan. It's your old pal Chris, the cartoon-loving geek from Canada. And, well, I can tell by the old clock on the wall that it's Dave's birthday. Happy birthday, old buddy. And yes, just like I promised you back on Ethan's birthday, I've got your very own Gilligan's Island-inspired caricature just for you. Now, truth be told, I was going to go with Ginger and Marianne in bikinis, but Bermuda insisted that I get you one of the Skipper instead, on account of you're in love with the Skipper. And frankly, I agree with Bermuda. The Skipper seems more suited for you anyways, don't you think? So happy birthday, Dave, and many more. Now as for you, Ethan, well actually I guess it's more for Ethan and Dave, I have something extra special. It's a picture of both the Skipper and Gilligan together. Funny thing is, I was going to give it to Frank as a special redemption gift for all of his past mistakes, but then I received word from Jim Kimo West that Frank took his miniature souvenir ball of twine that he got from the Minnesota Twine Ball gift shop. He unraveled it and used it as a rope to save a hamster stuck in a tree. And that is unacceptable. So it looks like you and Dave will be getting this magnificent picture instead. Hope you like it. And as for you, Frank, have you no sense of patriotic pride? That souvenir twine ball you defiled is a tribute to a massive symbol of what America is all about. I mean, you could have asked Raoul for help with the hamster, but no, you had to destroy a piece of Americana. Seriously, what are you trying to do here? Make me puke? So anyway, Dave, happy birthday, buddy, and many more. Dave and Ethan, I hope you guys love Frank's no longer gift, And Frank, there is just no hope for you. I mean, seriously. #hopeless.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you for the birthday wishes, and thank you very much for my very own Gilligan's Island birthday caricature. While I certainly would not complain if I was surrounded by Ginger and Marianne in bikinis, I do enjoy a good old Jonas Grumby artwork.
I am so glad that Chris gave us the Gill & Chill art with Gilligan and the Skipper instead of giving it to Frank. You know, he's so right about Frank unraveling that miniature souvenir ball of twine. I don't care if that hamster belonged to the Pope. You do not touch another man's ball of twine.
We will make sure that our lousy, rotten, no good, ungrateful intern Frank posts the artwork over on our Facebook group at group.2000inch.com for everyone to enjoy.
I love it when Chris Sear sends us art and leaves us messages on the 347 Special hotline. So from all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, thank you, Chris Sear, for all you do for our podcast.
All right, Ethan, you did say that you did not know what you would do if there was another message about my birthday, and there was another message about my birthday. So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna play this song that Frank slipped me a note about playing. I'm sure this will help change the subject off of your birthday.
Happy birthday, Weird
Dave.
Happy birthday, Weird
Dave.
Happy birthday, Weird
David Rossi.
Happy birthday, Weird
Dave.
Wow, another Zeb Lemke classic song. Thank you so much, Zeb. Thank you for the birthday wishes, and thank you for the birthday song.
Dave, it's all about Dave, huh? How can I get away from stuff about Dave?
I have a good idea. We could always talk about David Grant.
What a wonderful idea, Dave. I can't get enough of David Grant.
Me either.
So I was on my hourly visit to wolfandwool.com yesterday. You won't believe what I saw.
Oh, was it information about the book The Ruins of Our Past by Sebastian Shepard?
Nope, it wasn't information about the book Ruins of Our Past by Sebastian Shepard, but yes, you can find that on wolfandwool.com.
Oh, was it information about the comedy rap god MC Chalkskin?
No, it was not information about comedy rap god MC Chalkskin, but yes, you can find information about him on wolfandwool.com.
Was it something about RU.coms?
No, it wasn't David Grant's podcast, RU.coms, that you can, of course, find information about on wolfandwool.com.
Was it all the really cool David Grant merchandise?
No, it wasn't the cool merchandise over at wolfandwool.com.
I know, it was the blog.
Nope, it wasn't the blog on wolfandwool.com.
All right, let's see. Well, what was it?
Well, I saw a monarch butterfly out my window.
Oh, how cool!
So visit wolfandwool.com and maybe you too will see a monarch butterfly out of your window.
Well, all this talk about my birthday is getting me excited for this week's interview.
To tell you the truth, Dave and I are absolutely thrilled for our next interview. We have someone that knows Al very personally, both inside and out. We are so excited to welcome to the program Dr. Roger Schuster, Doctor of Dental Surgery. How's it going, Dr. Schuster?
Hi. Great, guys. I'm here in Los Angeles, and our weather is getting almost down to the temperature you guys are experiencing.
Now, should we call you Dr. Schuster, Dr. Roger Schuster, Doctor? What do you prefer?
I introduce myself as doctor for about a second, and then after I get to know somebody, it's usually, hey, call me Roger, especially if I call them by the first name.
Right. All right. Well, Roger, thank you for joining us.
Sure.
So, Roger, our audience may be wondering, why are we interviewing a dentist here on the podcast? And, Dave and I are definitely, we love great dental health. We're definitely proponents of that. But we understand you were actually Weird Al's dentist.
Yeah, for a pretty good number of years. And my claim to fame, shall I mention what my claim to fame is? Kind of like, what's my line?
Sure.
Yeah, I was on Al's album on a song called Cavity Search, on which he directed me, and I played the dental drill throughout the song.
Wow.
Not only were you Al's dentist, you recorded with Al. Al pretty sneaky and majestic, that is.
Yep, it was pretty awesome. He put headphones on me, and there was a boom microphone over my head in a little studio here in Santa Monica. And I arranged a air compressor, which is what you need for a modern dental drill. And we put that in the bathroom of the dental studio so it wouldn't make any sound in the background. And then I set up a pedal to operate the drill, and I brought a tooth in, an old tooth on a pliers, and they did some test recording, and then Al directed me, like he had a baton. And later on, I showed Al how to work the drill. So a bunch of those notes are his also in there.
Oh, wow.
It was my first dental duet, actually.
Had you recorded other dental tracks before?
No, that was really about it.
Oh, okay. And was it actually a real tooth that you were drilling?
Yeah, I don't know whose tooth it is, to tell you the truth. It was some old extracted tooth. Taken at random, and we tried a bunch of different burrs. Some were made out of diamond. Some were made out of tungsten carbide. And he got the sound he wanted out of it.
Wow.
And then I noticed they mixed it beautifully, because at the end of the song, it just trails on for what seems like forever with the Muzak.
Yes.
In the background.
Yeah.
I've actually, when it was in my car, I turn it all the way up, and I never realized it trailed on that long.
And do you still have that tooth? Is there any way we can do any kind of DNA testing on it and find out whose tooth it was?
No, that tooth is long gone.
Okay.
But trust me, it was sent out as hazardous waste in the most proper fashion.
Was there just tooth dust all over the recording studio?
No, it was all collected in I think we did it inside of a canister of some kind.
Yeah. Oh, it's so amazing.
Yep. But most of the sound will be made without touching the tooth. Also.
Oh, really?
Still hear the same sound.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. It just modulates. Well, if you've ever had a tooth drilled, which most people in the world have, it's a lot louder when it's on the tooth than when it's just in the air.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Is there a special name for the drill, or is it just tooth drill?
Yeah, that'll work for most people.
Yeah. Is there a professional name?
Well, it's an air-driven, high-speed dental drill. We have low-speed drills and we have high-speed drills, and they go up to 300,000 or 400,000 RPM, and they're all driven on a very balanced turbine that's inside the little, almost half-inch head of the dental drill.
And what was the decision process for deciding to do the high velocity versus a low velocity versus other? Was it just a random choice, or did you put a lot of thought into it?
No, Al told me what he wanted, and I said, all right, and I called my dental equipment guys, and I said, hey, can you loan me a very small loaner compressor that we sometimes would use on what's called a mobile clinic. We go work on farm workers' kids up in Central California, and we'd take these little compressors with us, and we could run an air hose as far as we needed to. And it worked out great. We just plugged it into the wall and ran an air hose into the studio, and then we just kind of played around, and Al said, that's perfect. And his engineer was pretty happy with it, too, I believe.
Wow. Is that drill still in use in your office now?
Some rendition of the same thing. You know, the high-speed drills have been around since probably 1958, and they've improved, but to the public they sound all about the same.
Right.
But the actual drill that was used in the recording process, do you still have that one?
Probably not. You know, they have a few years life expectancy. If you talk about what we call the handpiece, that's the part that the drill bit fits into. And the drill bit gets thrown out after a couple of uses, sometimes only one use.
Oh, wow.
But the handpiece is the part that gets attached to the hose, and that's the part that holds the drill bit, and that's the part that does the drilling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they live a few years, but they get autoclaved, and they have a certain life expectancy.
How long was the recording session?
I don't know how long I was there, because I think the song, from what I heard or remember, was completely mixed, and I was just the final effect on it.
Okay.
And but I had a good time with Al. He was he was friendly, and it was. I usually saw him in my office, so it was fun to see him in his office.
Right.
Which was the recording studio.
Yeah, did he give you a goodie bag when you left, like some dental floss and toothpaste?
Well, he gave me a couple of microphones, a few studio monitor speakers, and no. He didn't.
And just how was it that Al approached you about this? Was he sitting in the dentist chair one day and said, "Hey, Doc, I got a good idea for a song. Would you mind being on it?" Or was it something more formal?
I don't really remember, but I think either Al called me or his manager, Jay, who I'd known for many years.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it was Al, and asked me if I'd do that. And I go, yeah, let me think about how to set it up. And so when I told him, he goes, that's perfect. So, and fortunately, it was maybe a 5-minute drive from my office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did you just go on a lunch break, or do you remember the context?
No, I probably, I was usually off in those days on Friday. So I probably did it on a Friday.
So you mentioned that the song was basically finished except for your part that you had to add. Did you get to listen to the song in its unfinished state?
I think what I remember is hearing the song except for the dental drill.
Right.
Wow.
Because, I needed a reference for him to, he would direct me up and down and staccato, and I'm not a musician at all. I just play a dental drill. But, then he'd have me, quiet it down and then have me raise it back up. And then I'm sure they mixed it well from there. So we did a few takes, and then Al came, and I think I went in the room he had been in, and I think he finished by playing the dental drill.
It's so amazing.
I knew he was very versatile, but he picked up how to play the dental drill in a matter of seconds.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have to waste years in dental school. He just went right to it.
Well, I guess it didn't really matter if he drilled straight through the tooth or anything, because it wasn't attached to a body.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very curious about this random tooth. Do you just have a drawer full of teeth? Where do you have all these teeth?
Yeah, I don't remember where I got it, but usually a good source is one of my oral surgeons.
Okay.
The general dental office, years ago we used to extract teeth, but there's so many wonderful oral surgeons around us. I don't do that anymore, so I probably called and said, hey, you got an old wisdom tooth you're not using? And they didn't go and take it out of anybody or something just to give to me. They probably had it in a drawer.
Oh, so there wasn't a long list of people that were signing up to get their teeth extracted so they could be on a Weird Al album?
Yeah, no, I don't remember Al offering that kind of credit.
Was it a good tooth, or were there cavities in it? Do you have any memory there?
No, I think it was just, I do think we actually had one that had a piece of gold on it.
Oh.
And that made a slightly different sound and chatter than a piece of natural enamel.
Yeah.
So we probably played around with that. But until this moment, I haven't really thought about that.
Oh, we've spent years thinking about it.
Okay.
So I'm curious to hear your thoughts of when you first got to hear the song. As a dentist, obviously this song is all about, basically a trip to the dentist. What were your thoughts when you first got to hear the song Cavity Search, either in its finished or unfinished state?
Well, I didn't really listen to the words too much when I was in the studio because, I didn't have an advanced copy or anything. Yeah, but when I heard it finished, I went, I remember playing for my wife and my, at the time, very young son. And I went, okay, this is pretty brilliant. As all of Al's songs are. I mean, in fact, I'm old enough that I can't tell which is the real artist song or which is Al's song, because Al's version is usually as good and more entertaining because of the lyrics.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been to a couple of his concerts, and he's just amazing because every song is a different act.
It's incredible.
Did Al come to you for any research on the song, or did he ask you to verify anything?
No, he had it all together. And when I listened to it, I said it perfectly describes a dental office.
Did you feel like personally attacked at all? Like, was he talking about your office in particular for anything in the song?
No, I don't think so. And I think he may have talked to one of my hygienists. He may have talked to about it, but no, I think he'd been enough times to a dental office. He knew what went on. I'm hoping it wasn't my office, because what does it open up with? Listening to the Muzak, reading crappy magazines.
Right. Well, I was going to ask, do you have Muzak in your office?
No, we play pretty contemporary music.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Have you ever played Weird Al's music in your office for the patients?
No, I don't think I have, because
okay.
I would feel like I'd owe him a royalty if I were actually entertaining with his music. But as far as the crappy magazines, the first day I went into practice, having seen crappy magazines in other medical and dental offices, I figured out it couldn't cost me more than $100 a year to have brand new magazines. So we always had great magazines until last March when the pandemic hit. And in my office and most every other medical and dental office I know, we all threw out all the magazines and stopped the subscriptions.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because you didn't want to have, contaminated anything around the office.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Wow.
So we still have the Muzak, but no crappy magazines.
I mean, did you guys ever have like a Mad Magazine? I feel like Mad Magazine would be the best.
Oh man, that's really funny, because that's one of my favorite topics. When I went to the orthodontist when I was 10 years old, is where I first saw Mad Magazine.
Oh wow!
And it was like September of the year I was 10 years old. And I came home and I begged my parents to let me subscribe to it. So after about 2 years, they let me subscribe to it. And I was probably a subscriber, till I could read, when I was 30 or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had it for years and years. For the fast forward, I take my son to the orthodontist, and he discovers Mad Magazine.
Oh, wow.
And I'm telling my wife, I said, he's 10 years old, and this is September. I said, I can't believe it, but that's exactly the age and month that I discovered Mad Magazine. So we had to subscribe to it for him.
Wow.
How cool.
Yeah, was Weird Al on Mad Magazine? I believe he was.
Yeah, he was on the cover.
Oh, cool.
So you have to track that one down for you and your son to read.
Yeah. In my era, we went from Mad Magazine to the National Lampoon when you got to college.
So let me ask you, Dr. Roger, what is it that qualifies you to work on Weird Al's teeth? What is your background? How did you get started?
Well, just by coincidence. It's not because it's Hollywood practice or anything like that. But I'd known Dr. Demento for years, and I believe he referred Al to me.
Oh wow!
And that's how I think. I'm pretty sure that's how Al was discovered, by sending his tapes in when he was in high school to Dr. Demento.
Right. Wow. So Dr. Demento gets credit for both discovering Weird Al and discovering Weird Al's dentist as well.
Yeah. I had the esteemed privilege of going to, I think, one of the previews of Weird Al's famous movie UHF.
Oh yeah.
How did that happen? That's so cool.
I don't know if the director invited me, but it was at a building in Los Angeles and in Hollywood called the Directors Guild, and it was a really nice theater, and I just laughed my tail off the whole time of the movie.
And did you run into Al at the premiere?
I think I saw him there, and a bunch of other people, and they were all kind of related to, somewhere along the line to like the Blues Brothers and other kind of funny comedy stuff.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and me, a dentist in the audience.
Wow. What was Al's reaction seeing you? Wait, what is my dentist doing here? Did I miss an appointment? What's going on?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I think you forgot your toothbrush and your dental floss. Here it is. Oh yeah, by the way, can I watch your movie?
I'd love to hear how you were first interested in becoming a dentist.
Well, I loved my dentist and my orthodontist when I was a little kid. I thought it was a pretty cool job because I figured out that they didn't have to work evenings. And my orthodontist was in Beverly Hills, California. We didn't live in Beverly Hills, but he was the neatest guy. And of all the doctors, I remember telling my parents, I said, I don't know if you guys will know who this is, but I said, he's like the Dean Martin of doctors. He's like just mellow, chill. There were nice people in the office. He seemed to whistle while he worked, and it was really nice. So I explored other areas, but my family encouraged me to be a dentist.
And where is it that you went on to get your dental degree from?
Yeah, University of Southern California here in Los Angeles.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And where do you practice now?
In Santa Monica, California. In fact, very, very fortunate. It's not too far from the ocean, and the weather's nice.
Oh, nice.
At what point in your career do you start seeing Dr. Demento and then start seeing Weird Al? Is that, pretty early on in your career?
Medium. Maybe the first 30 or 40% of my career.
Yeah.
So okay. It was probably, well, whatever, let's see, if that song was 95, it was probably, it had to be a decade before that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And so the first time you see Al as a patient, are you familiar with his music at that point?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went, wow. It's kind of, I mean, I realize when I do have celebrities I see in the office they really are still people with teeth.
Right.
So, we don't want to get overexcited to overtreat them or undertreat them. They're nice people with teeth.
Wow.
But do you feel like extra responsibility when you're working on a celebrity or someone like Dr. Demento or Weird Al, who, their careers are based on their use of their mouth. Yeah. Do you feel, do you take out like extra insurance on those patients, or how do you deal with that?
I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, I have had some DJs too, but I hadn't thought any differently of them.
No.
Now that you mention it, I'll be nervous, but I wasn't before. In fact, Dr. Demento and I had joked around at one time. We were going to, because dentists are always made fun of in movies and in music, we were going to do a reel or a video of all the dental songs.
Oh, cool.
Including Al's Cavity Search?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think that would have been the lead single off of the,
totally.
the album.
Yep. Plus, there was always Little Shop of Horrors had a lot of great dental songs.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And then the long time ago, Alan Sherman had a great dental song. And
okay.
Alan Sherman, to me, was, because, I lived through that era, was a early precursor to Weird Al.
Right.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Inspiration
definitely.
For sure.
Now, how is it that you came to meet Dr. Demento?
That I can't remember. But he came in, probably over 30 years ago. Told you I'm old. Over 30 years ago as a patient, and I don't remember who originally referred him, but it was just, as soon as I heard his voice, yep, that's who you are. I've been listening to you since I was in college. So
yeah. Wow.
It's incredible. And I don't know if this is, breaking any HIPAA rules, but can you tell us, were Al and Dr. Demento, did they take care of their teeth? Did they come in every 6 months? Did they floss? I don't know. Can you tell us anything about them?
I can't go into detail. Yeah. I can't go into detail whether they flossed or didn't floss, but they were both and all very compliant, delightful people to deal with.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. And if they weren't, I wouldn't say that either, but they were.
Right?
So in Weird Al's song, which I'm sure you've heard, Smells Like Nirvana, there is a lyric about having marbles in one's mouth. Now, as a professional in that field, what is your professional opinion on having marbles in your mouth?
Well, I was just actually watching a clip after I talked to Ethan, you a couple weeks ago. I was looking at one of the YouTube clips, and it was talking about the origin of his smells. The real song, Nirvana's "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Am I saying it right?
Yep, that's the original.
Yeah, but he was obviously making fun of the fact that nobody could understand the lyrics.
Right.
So I got a kick out of that. And that's one of the songs. When I hear Al's, I can't remember if Al's is the real one or Nirvana's is the real one. And also, Gangsta's Paradise is also just to me such a funny parody.
Oh yeah.
But just for the record, should we avoid putting marbles in our mouth to protect our teeth?
Yeah. They'll chip your teeth.
Okay.
They could occlude your airway and cause all sorts of breathing problems. No marbles in the mouth.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. It's not good. So you mentioned that you'd seen Al in concert. What was that like the first time?
Yeah, a couple times. I think it was I'm trying to think. It was the Hollywood Bowl or the Greek Theater.
Wow.
And it was with my son, and I think a couple of his friends. And Al was nice enough or Jay was nice enough to let us go backstage and say hi to him after the show. But it was just I'd seen another really famous rock group a few weeks before, and I'd really enjoyed it. And then I realized they're really terrific, but all their songs sort of sounded the same after you've listened to a whole album.
Yeah.
But with Al, every single song was completely different from the previous song. And nothing was stylized. It was individual, each and every song. And the fact that he can play that many different sounds and kinds of music and instruments is just incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the other coincidence, and I think we all talked about this, is I kind of knew of John Bermuda Schwartz, his drummer.
Oh. How do you know John? How do you know Bermuda?
Well, I met him once with Al, but by coincidence, I believe John's brother is a musician with a friend of mine who played drums for Neil Diamond.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A wonderful guy named Dennis St. John, who passed away a good number of years ago, way too young. He became a really good friend and a real lovely, likable guy who was generous to everybody he ever talked to or touched. And then just by coincidence, he and John were good friends, and I saw a couple of Drummer magazine interviews that I think John wrote about Dennis St. John.
Wow. Oh, how cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a cool connection, yeah.
Yeah, so it had nothing to do with teeth, really.
Right. But, now, I understand you also sort of knew Dr. Demento not just as a patient, but as a friend outside of your practice.
Well, we became friends. I was at he and his wife's wedding, and my wife and Dr. Demento's wife and I would go to lunch sometimes on Fridays or Saturdays.
Oh, nice.
Meet in the valley. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the studio with Dr. Demento?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did. I a couple of times got to go to the studio. One was pretty phenomenal. I was there with Tiny Tim.
Whoa.
Dr. Demento and an old. They probably went back to the vaudeville days. A group of triplet women called the Del Rubio Triplets.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I've heard of those. Yeah, wow.
So I have a great black and white picture. A great black and white picture of the bunch of us standing around. And another time, Dr. Demento invited me down to the studio on a Sunday night, and they were doing the show, I guess, live in those days. Mm-hmm. And I was one of the people answering the phone and answering questions.
Oh, cool.
How awesome.
Yeah, that was a kick. I'm not sure if I knew what I was talking about, but I had a good time.
Right.
Nobody called and asked the right technique for flossing, so I did as well as I could on the music answers.
But the first dental question that came through that hotline, you would have been right on it.
That's right.
Yep, right on it, yep. Dental emergency hotline. And Dr. Demento, after these words.
Did he mention that you were, answering the phones, that his dentist was there, and Was he playing dental-related songs or anything like that?
No, I'm not. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, he might have played that Alan Sherman song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if he announced me as just Roger or as, I don't know if he said I was Dennis on the show, but it was fun.
Yeah.
How smooth he did the show, and hear his vast knowledge of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he still does his show, and his show goes out over the internet every week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So cool.
He's still working hard at it right here from Southern California.
Have you ever worked professionally with Weird Al since the Cavity Search? Has he ever approached you about doing?
That was it. I actually changed professions, went from music right back into dentistry full time. I waited for the reviews to come in on my performance, but yeah, you guys are it.
Is this the first time you've been interviewed about your musical performance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Another Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast first.
Yes. So you never, worked in music again, unfortunately. But, did you see Al outside the office at all besides at the UHF premiere and, recording with him? Was he someone that you would go to lunch with?
No, it was usually Barry Hansen, Dr. Demento and I.
Yeah.
Al was usually on the road.
Yeah.
With Weird Al being on the road so often, was he good with keeping up with his dental appointments, making sure he got in every 6 months?
Yeah, he was fastidious, yes.
Yeah, okay.
You can see his big smile, but that's thanks to his good home care and his fine genetics.
Yes.
From his parents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And do you think that he scheduled his tours around, his dental appointments, made sure that he could get in?
Doesn't everybody? No, I mean, one of the jokes in a dental office amongst, colleagues is, oh yeah, we had 3 cancellations in a row. Must have been there was a Weird Al special on TV, or somebody had to bathe their dog, so they forgot to come to the dentist. That's any excuse not to go to the dentist.
It sounds like you were aware of Al, you're aware of Dr. Demento, you read Mad Magazine. Would you consider yourself a fan of comedy music? It sounds like, right?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, going way back. Yeah, novelty music. I can picture going back to give away my age, but the late 50s and early 60s. Plus,
Yeah.
It's funny how there's a correlation between novelty music and sci-fi. They always kind of go together.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at an old stack of DVDs. I have Al's UHF here. I saw, and one of Al's live in concert, and then I have the original version of the movie called Forbidden Planet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And the connection to that is it had the robot in it that later ended up in Lost in Space, which featured Billy Mooney, who was always on the Dr. Demento show and was a good friend of the show and Dr. Demento.
Right.
Of course,
and a past guest on our podcast as well.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah, he went to elementary school with my sister.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I can picture us all riding around the neighborhood on bicycles with Billy Mooney. I think he's probably Bill Mooney by now.
Right. Well, I mean, at the time, knowing him in elementary school, isn't that around when he was in Lost in Space?
Yeah, I think so. I think my sister said he probably went to school at the studio by then because they worked so much.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember little Bill Mooney as a child? How often were you playing with him?
I just remember him being around the neighborhood, and my sister and I and a bunch of other kids. Back in those days, you could ride your bicycle without your parents being afraid that something would happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic was nowhere near as bad, but I just can picture us all riding around the neighborhood.
Wow.
On big 2-wheelers.
I want to go back to something you mentioned. You mentioned that at one point you and Dr. Demento were talking about putting out an album of, dental related music. Were there any other, projects with Dr. Demento you were involved with?
No, not really. I once, some patient gave me, back in those days, a cassette tape, and I said, and I listened to it, and he had no idea that I knew Dr. Demento, but he just gave it to me because I think it's from the area he was from in northern U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out to be called the Happy Schnapps Combo.
Okay.
And they had a lot of fun. So I think I got a credit for discovering them, and Dr. Demento played them quite a bit. One of their songs became very requested. So I felt like I was a
wow.
I was a producer for about 12 seconds.
Wow.
The through line has been that you've been a dentist this whole time, but you've also, been a recording artist, you've been a radio DJ, you've been a producer. I mean, what else have you done?
Well, I didn't tell you I was on the Art Linkletter show as a little kid, saying the darndest things. Yeah,
You can say the darndest things. That's a great show.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, that goes way back.
Wait, so you were one of the kids saying darndest things?
I was one of the kids. Yep. Yeah, they have usually 4 kids, and they ask them different questions.
Yeah.
And it was. My sister was on it a couple of years after me, so it was kind of a family thing.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Do you remember what they asked you, or any of the darndest things you said?
I actually do, because in those days we didn't have videotapes or any way of taping TV. But my dad took Polaroids off the TV screen.
Oh, wow.
And he audio taped me.
Oh, wow.
So I probably heard it years ago, but okay. So here, the main thing he asked me was, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "A lawyer like Perry Mason." And then there was a pause, and he said, "Why do you want to be a lawyer like Perry Mason?" And my cute little answer was, "Did you ever see him lose a case?" That was it.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to dig a little bit further in your life.
We had a local, I think every part of the country had a local clown show. There was always Bozo the Clown. We had a guy named Chucko the Clown.
Okay.
And my claim to fame, long before becoming a dentist, was I won the pie eating contest. You had to put your hands behind your back and look around in the pie with just your face to find a peanut in the pie, and whoever found it first won. So I won.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yeah. That's it.
What kind of pie was it?
I don't know. It could have been a shaving cream pie. I don't know.
Wow.
Oh, gee, now you reminded me of one more thing. I was actually on the radio once with Soupy Sales.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Wow. How did that come about?
We had a local, when I was in college, there was a local radio DJ named Sweet Dick Whittington.
Okay.
And he was one of the very first shock jocks, way before Howard Stern. And he was on a local radio station. And he'd been in different places around the country. And somehow I called in and befriended him. And I went to had me come out to the station. And I got there early in the morning, and his guest was Soupy Sales. So it was Soupy Sales, Sweet Dick Whittington, and a dentist.
I think it's just amazing how these friendships have come so naturally to you. It sounds like you meet someone once and suddenly you're best friends. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate. I have a lot of really nice, good friends. My oldest friend I've known since kindergarten, and
wow.
She and I are still good friends, and she's a good friend of my wife also since junior high.
Wow.
Small town here, this West Coast.
Yeah. Have any of your other patients led to work the same way that Al has?
No, not really. Just good friendships, and maybe led to dental work, but not
right.
not entertainment work.
There's no like producers or directors who needed a dentist, to be in the background of a scene or something.
No, not really. Yeah, that's.
Would you entertain taking the drill out of retirement and becoming a touring dental drillist?
Yeah, I guess I guess I could take that on the road. In the old days, back before the 1900s, or maybe even the early probably before that, dentists were usually, there weren't very many of them. They traveled by wagon from town to town, treating people for toothaches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, read that in the books on the history of dentistry, and it's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow. Roger, your name appears in the Bad Hair Day booklet in the special thanks section. How did you react to seeing your name in a Weird Al album?
I went, wow. Cool. So, I noticed if you Google my name and Weird Al, then the liner notes show up with the special thanks.
Right.
I mean, I've had regular thanks, when somebody thanks me at the end of the dental treatment.
Right.
For not hurting them or doing a nice job. But I never had a special thanks.
Right.
That was kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
It's kind of like, you watch an FBI show and there's always a special agent. So I figured they're like a little better than the regular agent. And so I figured a special thanks is way up there.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course. Now, I don't know if you have any artwork in your office, but if you don't, I would suggest maybe you get those liner notes framed and put up on your wall.
That's not a bad idea. So, when I was a kid, of course, you had 33 RPM records, which are really big, so you could frame those easily. But now you'd have to take the liner notes from a DVD and blow it up about 10 times.
Right. And one thing you had mentioned to me before the interview was that at one point you gave Al one of your lab coats and some of your gloves. Do you remember the reason behind that?
No, I remember loaning him early on a white lab coat, and he was very gracious and thankful, and I gave him a bunch of gloves. And I think he used it in one of his funny shows, one of his funny numbers. I can't remember what it was.
Well, he has a blue outfit in Like a Surgeon, so maybe it was...
Oh, yeah, Like a Surgeon. No, but I think this was a different number.
Yeah.
I think the scrubs were really easy, like a surgeon. That's a funny song, too.
Now, are you familiar with Weird Al's other dentist-related song, Toothless People, off of the Polka Party album?
Yeah, I can't remember it, because I know the real song wasn't it Ruthless People?
Yep.
Right, yeah, Ruthless People was the original.
That was a movie or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it came from a movie called Ruthless People, yes.
Yeah. No, I don't remember the lyrics, but I knew there was a song named that.
Okay.
I think being a dentist, I remember hearing, long before I ever knew of Al, I remember hearing Ruthless People, and I remember saying to some friends, I said, should be probably called Toothless People, right. And then we could make dentures.
In Weird Al's music video for his Flintstones-related song, Bedrock Anthem, in the music video, Al's got a lot of gross stuff on his teeth. Does that make you cringe as a dentist when you see that?
No, that's always fun to do special effects stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in it, but it's always kind of fun to do that. Yeah, it's fun to watch different movies and go, that guy's teeth aren't really like that. That's a pretty funny effect. I've had patients sit down, that I know, and they sit in the chair, and then we go and look in their mouth, and open up, and they put these phony Billy Bob teeth in. And it always cracks me up. You can get them at a novelty store, and they're pretty funny and effective looking.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that. That's great.
Yeah. And I once had a patient, very funny lady. She sat down, opened her mouth, and she had a rubber cockroach on her tongue.
Oh gosh!
and she actually got me. I actually jumped. So I know what I was going to say. I joked with I think with Dr. Demento once. I said we could do a weekly show called Dental Center, and we could talk for about 40 seconds about what's fun fun or funny about going to a dental office. There's always shows about medical centers,
right?
But nobody's ever had a show about a dental center.
That's true.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think people are just maybe a lot of people have a very negative feeling about dentists. They're scared of it. What can you say to your patients to keep them coming back?
Keep it light and unafraid.
Yeah.
Well, that old saying that your parents and your grandparents said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that is really true. Get people to come in regularly for cleanings, brush and floss, then they don't have to spend much time back in my chair. They just get to see the hygienist and say hello to me.
Right.
Yeah.
But when they mess up, then they get to say hello to me for a longer time.
Now, as a dentist, do you go to a dentist, or do you just set up a mirror and look at your own teeth?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, go to a dentist? I am a dentist. Yeah, I go to the dentist twice a year.
You do?
Usually my own hygienist or, one of my friends if I need a filling replaced.
Wow.
And then it becomes actually pretty funny because we end up laughing our tails off thinking about doing dentistry on a dentist.
Right.
It's always kind of funny.
Have you ever been bitten by one of your patients?
Fortunately, no.
Oh, wow.
I'm still pretty quick, so I can get my fingers out of the way.
I got to imagine that's one of the first things they teach you in dental school is move your fingers away real quickly.
Exactly. One of the first things in dental school, because you guys like comedy stuff, the recently late Tim Conway did a hysterical dental routine on the Carol Burnett show. And it's a dentist on his first day in practice.
Okay.
And he, Harvey Korman is the patient in the chair, and Harvey Korman is laughing through the whole thing because it is so funny. And Tim Conway numbs his hand is drooping, and then he drops a syringe on his leg, and then he's limping around. And so I happened to meet Tim Conway once, and I said, at USC, where I'd graduated dental school, on the first day of dental school, they played your routine for every dental student in the class. He goes, "You're kidding? I had no idea." So I don't know for how many years they played that dentist routine of Tim Conway's. And if you look on the internet, it's still as funny today as it was 40-something years ago.
Oh, I'll have to look that up. That's so cool.
Yeah.
You have to check that out, yeah. Wow.
Roger, this has just been so much fun getting to hear.
Oh, good. I mean, you guys are easily entertained. I appreciate that.
Well, we're really honored that you spoke to us and that, you let us be the exclusive place to ask about your debut in music and working on Al and Dr. Demento's teeth. So, we really appreciate that. Thank you for trusting us with this very important interview.
Well, thanks, you guys. I mean, I know I've excited my dog. My beagle is now sound asleep next to me, so I don't think anything I said entertained him.
But before we go, do you want to leave any, nuggets of dental knowledge with our audience? Any tips for flossing or brands of toothpaste you recommend? Anything?
Well, the best tip, and I give this to usually teenage kids who won't floss, and I go, "Okay, kids, listen. You don't really have to floss all your teeth. ... Just the ones you want to keep."
Excellent.
That's great. That's all, folks.
That's all.
That's all.
That's Al, folks. That's Al, folks, as I saw on one of the T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger, thank you so much for joining us. This has really been a great pleasure to get to talk to you about teeth and drilling teeth and working with Weird Al. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks. That's you guys have been very entertaining to me as well.
Well, thank you, Dr. Roger Schuster. Dave, can you believe we interviewed Weird Al's former dentist?
Our dream has finally come true.
Now when people ask us who we've interviewed, I feel like Weird Al's dentist is going to be right up there with Dr. Demento and Portugal the Man and Bermuda and Durwood Bowen.
Oh, and don't forget the episode where all I do is sneeze.
Shh, Dave, we haven't aired that one yet.
Oh, sorry?
Well, huge thank you to Dr. Roger Schuster. We had so much fun talking to him on and off the podcast. He is such a fun and interesting guy.
And speaking of fun and interesting, today's episode is brought to you in part by Joe and Yvonne from Waiting for Lunch Radio. Waiting for Lunch Radio is a free-form radio show inspired by mixtapes and zines, playing a wide range of crazy music and hot, fresh, demented ear food. Waiting for Lunch Radio is not available wherever you get your podcasts because it's on Mixcloud. But don't worry, you can find it at waitingforlunch.com.
So come on down to Waiting for Lunch Radio and Waiting for Lunch your Waiting for Lunch Radio, or hop on over to waitingforlunch.com for a hot and loaded, wizardly vegan freeform radio zine. From Detroit to Jersey City to Europa, Waiting for Lunch Radio feeds your hungry ears with out-of-this-world real music, always freeform style. Leave a weird message at 313-883-9275 or order ahead at waitingforlunch.com.
This week's episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota, beautiful, it's also time to celebrate.
That's right, Dave. Saturday, August 14th is the 30th annual Darwin Twine Ball celebration.
I cannot believe it is that time of the year again.
Wowza! Get ready for the craft fair and collectibles.
And don't forget the Lions Club.
And food stands on the grounds.
And sand volleyball.
And the raffle from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the All Saints Church.
Oh boy, if I was in Darwin, I would be at that raffle for all 7 hours. You cannot find that kind of entertainment around these parts.
So visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next expedition. Discover Darwin, more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to visit discoverdarwin.biz.
Each week we're able to bring you our podcast absolutely free thanks to our sponsors Burrito, Discover Darwin, Jackson Scoggins, David Grant at wolfandwool.com, and Joe and Yvonne from Waiting for Lunch Radio.
And thanks to our amazing close personal friend Patreon supporters, Blair, Frank from the Bank, Kenneth, Jared, Jake, Javier, UH Jeff, Zeb, and Allison, and thanks to Richard and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our family-friendly weekly Weird Al podcast, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/2000inch or by picking up some pretty stinking majestic official David Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast merchandise, such as t-shirts, pillows, tank tops, fanny packs, and more over at shop.2000inch.com.
And remember, right now, Patreon supporters can check out the first 3 episodes of the Black and White and Weird All Over bonus episode series, our special book series where we sit down with author John Bermuda Swartz and go page by page, picture by picture, centimeter by centimeter through his book, Black and White and Weird All Over. Patreon supporters get to hear all bonus episodes early. Everyone else, stay tuned. Frank said he would post those outside of Patreon once he finishes counting all the Weird Al lookalikes from the New York Times Magazine photo shoot.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so join our Facebook community and post about Weird Al by visiting group.2000inch.com. And we also love it when we receive voicemail via our official 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, and we especially love all those birthday messages at 347-SPATULA. You might even hear your message on the show.
For everything about our podcast, including incredible past episodes and guests, be sure to visit WeirdAlPodcast.com or 2000inch.com. And keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you to all of you for subscribing and leaving awesome reviews for our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, Stitcher, or the podcast app of your choice.
Thank you once again to our guest, Dr. Roger Schuster, and also thank you to Blair Freeman, Polyester, Dana B., Jake Larson, Jackson Scoggins, who tried to order pizza from the 347 Spatula Hotline, Frank from the Bank Sanchez, Chris Sear, Zeb Lemke, and everyone else who took the time out of their very busy schedules to wish me a very happy birthday.
Thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for our incredible theme song, and thank you to Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And a big special thanks to all of you, our listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters, and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible.
Thank you for listening to Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, and always remember to gill and chill.
So Dr. Roger Schuster, get this, he has a lot of bigwigs in Hollywood as his patients, right? I mean, he can only talk about Weird Al and Dr. Demento being patients because they gave him explicit permission to do so. But can you imagine who else he has as patients?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this. I bet he can be pretty helpful in getting us connected to the right people, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, well, Dave, what are you thinking?
All right, get this. I wonder if he can get us a discount on mint-flavored dental floss.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 117-inch.
Sure beats reading crappy magazines.
That's Al, folks.